Hello, hello, welcome to the show. This is HackHunter, where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists in your cities. Now, this is part number 2 of our Sandusky, Ohio episode, and guys, please go check out part number 1 if you haven't seen it, because we found a phenomenal female tattooer out there that was just mind-blowing. But while we were out there hunting, you know we found some hacks. So, without further ado, let me introduce Alex Hefner. You can find him working at Sandusky Tattoo Company, right there in Sandusky, Ohio. They're one of the older studios, been around for a while. They really don't have that many artists working there, but they've had a lot of artists over time. If you want to find them online, it's really tough. They actually only have a Facebook. No website to speak of, no Instagram, and this is quickly becoming something that we see as a red flag here at HackHunters. If a studio does not have their own website, and if their artists don't keep up with their studio's Instagram, things like this, like, it just kind of goes to show that the artists aren't really proud of their work a lot of times. And so if you have a hard time finding an artist's work online, then that usually goes to show you don't want to find it. If you want to see Alex's, though, Alex_Hefner on Instagram. Always do your own research, guys, but let me show you what I found. Bam! Let's talk about this dragon, shall we? Oh my god. This is straight out of a coloring book. Boy, this is just really elementary, overly simplified artwork. Now, I understand sometimes with American traditional or traditional style artwork, it's supposed to be simplified, but this isn't that. This is not that. This is just really overly simplified, and you'll see as I go through his portfolio, a lot of it is just work that you could tell he really didn't know how to improve it. Rather than somebody who is intentionally doing something simplified, he's doing it simplified because he had a hard time with design work. And another major red flag, something that all you clients can look out for when you're searching for a tattoo artist. If their fades, especially color fades, don't look good, they come out scratchy like this, that's a really major red flag and a big tell, because it takes patience to create a nice soft edge with color, to blend it out to that skin tone. It takes patience and it's time consuming. So when an artist just kind of scratches the surface like this, it tells me a lot. And then of course when the background color is really patchy like this, just chunks of it are darker than others, really bad news. So a lot of his work looked like this. These really heavy saturated with gray wash flowers, but he just used one medium tone throughout the whole thing. Now I'll show you what I mean. Here's another one, just overly saturated. It's almost like he's trying to gray wash the way you would color, like he's using gray wash to fill in large areas. Here's another one, just really strange looking, and most of them have these really simple leaves, okay? And so when I'm going through an artist portfolio and I'm seeing the same thing over and over again, that's their MO, that's their bread and butter. It goes to show me that they're not trying to evolve, not trying to improve their artwork over time. And all of these were just very similar. And this is not necessarily a good way to do gray wash, because there's not areas of dark and light, how you would see shadows or petals where they would overlap. Like right here, you would see what we call a drop shadow. That petal would cast a shadow on the petal below it, and so on and so on. But he's not really doing that. He's just creating a medium gray tone throughout the whole thing. And when it heals, it's just going to heal washed out, and it's going to look two-dimensional. Now I want to show this eagle, because here's an example of what happens if you use that on other content, not just flowers. On this eagle, same thing. There's some areas like up in here, around here, where it looks darker, and the typical client is going to look at that and go, oh, it's darker, and then it gets lighter out here. But it's not, because this whole thing is the same tone of gray. So it looks darker day 1, but when it actually heals 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, it's all going to look flat, two-dimensional, and it's just going to have a really kind of strange, overly simplified look to it. Here's another example where he really, look at how giant this is. This is on a huge calf, and he just made it really simple. Very elementary style artwork. And another thing you can see, I zoom in here, can you see those white dots that he attempted to put in there? You cannot go in later and put white over top of a darker color. Even if it's like a medium or a light gray wash, it's not a good idea. That white is not going to shine through. It's not going to have the effect that he was hoping for here. But again, he just used the same medium tone throughout on this whole thing, so the whole thing is going to look really washed out and flat when it's healed. Here's what it looks like on her face. Same thing. It just has this kind of muddy, dark, clumpy look to it. And again, on this wolf's face, I think he used opaque gray. But he just used the same color throughout the whole thing. I guess there's a little bit of black up here, but overall, this is just not going to heal well. It's not going to look well when it heals. It's just going to look very flat, like a flat sticker. And here's an example of some of his color work. And I wanted to showcase this one because he does a mistake that right off the bat lets me know that he probably wasn't professionally trained, or at least his mentor wasn't professionally trained. You see this orange in here, and you might think up here he used a darker orange or a dark brown maybe even to fade into the lighter orange, but he didn't. He just gray washed it, and then he used one color of orange to fill in the whole thing. And I know a lot of artists, if they're not trained well, they might think that that's how you're supposed to do it, and we see that over and over again. It's a major mistake. You got to use multiple tones of this color on the spectrum. You don't want to just gray wash it and then color over your gray wash. What's going to happen is he just kind of dirtied up his color. So now his color just won't look very vibrant, and it'll look kind kind of chunky in those areas. And again, with this fade up here, really poor job on that fade. And then here's that white again. He tried to put that white dot at the white dots over top of his color at the very end, and when that heals, those are just going to disappear. That was just added damage to the skin for no reason. So a lot of red flags going on. I'm seeing that it's just really not impressive stuff. Again, right here, he used that gray wash and then he colored its red over top of it, and that is just not going to heal in a nice way where it's going to look shadowed and have a 3D appeal to it. It's just going to look kind of flat and dirtied up. Here's some butterflies. I saw a lot of really simple clip art butterflies in his portfolio, and this poor person, I don't know who, maybe they asked for this, but he just did the same butterfly. He didn't even try to make them different. And then this one that's sideways, it's the same one. So he found 2 butterflies online and just copied and pasted them over and over again. I hate to see that. Let's talk about cover-ups though. Here's a cover-up. It was a nightmare. It was a big one, and used a koi fish. I could see how that could work, but let's see if he pulled it off. Bam! Nope, not even close. Just really dark, heavy. That thing does not breathe at all. So what this shows me is that he did not have the confidence going in. And this happens a lot. If an artist is not confident in their cover-up ability, they're not confident in how well they saturate these colors, then they're going to go over the top dark. And that's what he did here. He used a lot of blacks and purples. Even where it's supposed to be lighter gold and yellow, you can see he just blacked it out in there. So I could tell the confidence was not there. This is definitely a piece he should not have been attempting for this client. And because of it, this client's just got this dark blotch up here. Yeah, technically you covered it up, but do you really like the new piece? I don't know. Not so much. I had to show this one, guys. Are you staring at my... I loved it. And he didn't do a bad job here. You know, the line work's okay. And the design work, though, is where I have beef with most of his artwork. The design work is just lacking. You could tell he had trouble doing this yellowish gold down here on the talons because it's all kind of patchy and red in there. So you can see that the application technique is definitely not there. And a lot of these designs, like this one, most likely are traced or taken from offline because I found another Grim Reaper exactly like this one. Bam, right there. And they look a little different. He modified it some, but you can definitely see it's the exact same Grim Reaper. And when I take a few seconds to just Google it, Grim Reaper outline on Google, it's the very first thing that popped up right there, the exact same one he's modifying. So I hate to see that, but it definitely shows what I suspected, that he's really having a hard time with his design work, and he's spending more time Googling than he is actually practicing his drawing. So Alex Hefter from Sandusky Tattoo Company, you guessed it, he goes on our hack list. Go check out part number 1 if you haven't seen it, guys. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next city. Bye-bye.